All my heroes went to prison, not because they were criminals, but because they refused to be silent about truth. John the Baptist was imprisoned for confronting sin at the highest level of power. He did not soften his message to protect his life. He spoke truth to a king, and it cost him his freedom, and eventually his head. Faithfulness more than safety. Peter was chained between guards, sleeping on stone floors, awaiting possible execution. Yet the book of Acts shows that prison could not contain the gospel. When the church prayed, heaven moved. Chains fell. Doors opened, not because Peter demanded comfort, but because he belonged to Christ. Paul and Silas sang hymns at midnight with their backs torn open from beatings. Who sings in a prison cell after torture? Only those whose hope is not anchored to circumstances. Their worship shook the foundations of the prison. Literally, God did not just free them, he saved the jailer and his household. Suffering became a doorway for salvation. James, one of the closest disciples of Jesus, was executed after imprisonment. The early church did not interpret this as God's failure. They understood that following Christ meant carrying a cross, not merely wearing one. And then there is Paul again, chained to a wall, guarded day and night, yet producing some of the most powerful writings in human history. Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, and Philemon. Letters soaked in joy, courage, doctrine, and hope. Written not from a pulpit, but from confinement. Notice what Paul did not pray. He did not say, "Lord, get me out." He said in essence, "Lord, make me bold." He asked the church to remember his chains, not to pity him, but to understand the cost of the gospel. Today we often call discomfort persecution, a harsh comment, a lost opportunity, social rejection, and we feel shaken. But the early believers faced loss of property, freedom, reputation, and life itself. Yet the church exploded across the Roman Empire. Why? Because they were surrendered, not safe. They did not dilute truth to fit culture. They did not measure success by popularity. They measured faithfulness by obedience. Prison did not stop them because their mission was bigger than their circumstances. Walls could confine their bodies, but not the word of God. Chains could restrict movement, but not courage. Silence from society only amplified heaven's voice through them. The real question for us is not, will we go to prison? But what are we willing to lose for Christ? Comfort, approval, security, platform? The early church understood that the gospel is not preserved by convenience, but by conviction. Lord, raise up believers again who fear compromise more than suffering, who value truth more than applause, who would rather stand with you in chains than sit without you in comfort. Because history shows this clearly, the church is not weakened by hardship. It is purified by it, and the gospel shines brightest, not when it is safe, but when it is costly.